Hey, did you bring rent? Did the governor let you bring money? Because he has to ask permission to spend his own money. Poor bastard. What? What are you gonna do? Wow, dude.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Dude, it was a joke about her being the governor.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Okay, I will. Well, that was the greatest night in podcast history. I guess let's start a show. Whatever.
Due to the ignorance of our host, parental discretion is advised.
Welcome back to the other side of the Beehive. It's your weekly boys, episode 167. Even though we didn't write it, I remember.
You remembered?
I remember. Eric Iman, ladies and gentlemen, once again, which means we can only mean one thing.
I've lost my mind again.
Hey, thanks for coming at the last minute, brother. That didn't sound good. And also, thanks for showing up.
As long as it makes me happy.
What's up, man?
Do you need a beer?
No.
Need a water?
I brought some, but if I run out.
Got some agua?
No, we came in to put a chew in, put a dip in.
Yeah, nicotine is just nicotine and chaos. It's just how I operate, I guess.
Well, good.
Yeah. Here we are.
It's good to see you, mister.
Good to see you too, buddy.
Look, we still have the fucking gloves.
I know. It's awesome.
Well, one of us is rocking the shit
One
out
of us
you.
is supporting. I can't even say anything. I bought this shirt. I didn't try it on. It's a real medium.
Yeah, dude, he walks in. I'm like,
did you
there are those
pull
nipples.
that out of my car?
Yeah.
Dude, he came in. I'm like, there is nipples again.
It's in case I got to do a B&E. Breaking and entering, I can cut the door open. Okay, it's multi-purpose tool.
I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to have a heart on the entire episode today.
It's normal for you, especially when I'm around.
Yeah, exactly.
It gets creepy.
That's why last time you picked me up, remember that shit? Well, it wasn't last time. Was it the first time?
That was the
No, I
first
couldn't
time
pick you up
First
last
time.
time. I was.
Yeah, that's right. Last time, your left part, a chunk of your brain was here.
Yeah, we have some of that on the
yet,
headphones.
And yet, someone just posted a picture of you on a motorcycle, on the road.
Yeah, I know.
No helmet.
Well,
So I'm
that's
like-
complicated. That's complicated.
Well, I don't mean it's not complicated. It's
Well, I guess it's probably more complicated if I hit the ground again. That probably complicates matters worse. How are you guys?
Good, man. Just, living the dream. I got a job with Mister over here.
Yeah,
We work together. We're running this brothel
you guys
down
are-
south.
I love that for you guys.
Yeah. It's going good.
Yeah,
But we have girls that look like
tips.
Brian, so we're
Just
all right.
the tips.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
our girls,
The brothel's called Just the Tip.
Yeah,
it's called Cheapest Chupas. But
Yo,
anyway.
so April 20th?
30th.
30th. Yeah, I knew it had a zero.
Don't
behind
cut
it.
my days short. I need them all.
He's all, wait, what?
I got to get back to the gym.
So, anyway, guys.
I need a treadmill. I'm big enough. Actually, I made weight yesterday, so
Did you? Yeah. Oh,
Damn.
shit. You're done then.
265
It's
right
done.
now. Just got to make sure I'm in shape.
So, I know we talked the last few times. Well, I think a couple of times we've talked where Eric says, this is it.
Yeah. Well, let's bring it back a little bit. So,
Please do.
because I don't know how. I don't know if I have any fans amongst your audience, or if I have any fans.
Oh, are you
What do you
kidding
mean?
me?
Anywhere.
If they're not your fans,
Well,
they're
like-
not fans of the show.
like that actively follow me on Facebook or whatever.
Oh,
the hell,
yeah.
You know what I
Well, we
mean?
know
So,
a few.
so
Do we got to move
recap-
this out of the way so you can stretch that big old dong you've got? Big old fucking Thor hammer you've got. Oh, careful there.
God damn it, dude. How awful would it be that he does that? He instantly starts bleeding. We're like, Jesus Christ.
It's fine.
Just like the last episode.
It's fine. Yeah, it's a real theme.
fitting.
It's a real theme around here.
So take us back.
So 19, I had a hell of a run.
Yeah.
I knocked a lot of people out. January 4th of 20, I fight for the heavyweight title for Steel Fist again, and maybe it's maybe I am just, I had a knockout of the year. It was featured on the UFC website. They did a recap on it on Tommy Toho.
Dude,
it was a big deal.
It pops out all the time.
And it's got like 2.5 million views, right? 6 weeks later, boom, I get hit, and it is bad.
Yeah.
Bad. I've never been knocked all the way unconscious. Then and the motorcycle, that was it. So my coach tells Samantha he has to go to the hospital because apparently I was telling him my birthday was like October 48th or something. And I don't want to go. I want to go get drunk.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can feel that my teeth are pushed about, my upper teeth are pushed back about 1/8 of an inch. But fuck this. I'm depressed. The culmination of another run. And, it ends bad, right? So I'm like, okay, fine. We'll go get checked in. Then I'm going home and I'm getting drunk with my friends. So we go to the doctor. They CT scan my face, and so I have a midline face fracture. It's like if you hit a steering wheel, right? Going 50. So it broke all the way across and pushed my jaw back. This doctor gets Samantha like scared to death that I'm dying, right? He's like, I don't know how he walked in here. So they do some more tests. They run a bunch of stuff. They start calling around. She has the scan of my brain. You can see it moving and shit. It's creepy. Well, he's pointing at it and he's like, see all this scar tissue? That's from concussions. He's like, this man's probably had 35. So he says he needs to go to the U right now. Like right now, he needs to go. Me being me, I'm like, yeah, the fuck. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll go get in the car. Oh no, you're going by paramedic. I said, I am not.
I'm not paying that bill.
I am not taking more fucking pride beating. Okay,
Right.
now take it. And this is how stupid it is. Their reasoning is, well, then we have to take the IV out. I got 2 arms and 75 veins. I take the IV out. I'm not going in an ambulance.
Right.
So we drive up there. We sit there. Doctor comes in. Oh God, this gets bad too. So the doctor comes in. So they wheel me in. They were like a whole trauma team was waiting. So they wheel me in. They take another scan of my face. 8 doctors are poking and prodding at me. They wheel me back to a room. I'm sure it was, from the outside looking in, it was probably pretty scary, right? Because it looked like, one of these TV shows with, So, they take me back to a room. However, they're just pumping shit in me. However long, right?
You feeling good?
I was feeling as good as I could under the circumstances.
Right.
I wasn't feeling anything. So the doctor comes in. I'm sleeping. Samantha's sleeping in a chair. He comes in. He's like, let me examine you. So he's kind of pushing a little bit, and I'm like, So he has me open my mouth, and he grabs it right behind my teeth, and he moves my face.
Jesus.
So my upper jaw moved, and I am screaming, kicking at this sumbitch, because it was the most excruciating thing in my life. Worse than landing on my head off the motorcycle. Way worse, right? So he's like, yeah, he needs surgery right now. The rest of the story, to fast forward now, is it turns out that, and I believe it was when I fought Eti Palu, because I still have the same nerve damage here that I had then, but it came back. So me and Eti went to war, and that, if you guys don't know Eti, he's a tough bitch. He's as tough a human as they build, right? Because he's 5'10", maybe. I think he weighed in at like 218 pounds, and he gave me hell. But he split my lip all the way up to my nose, so you could see my teeth through my lip with my mouth closed. But my face was numb and I got this weird swelling, right? It looked like a computer mouse under my cheek. Doctor's like, yeah, it'll go down. They didn't CT scan my face. So it turns out that I had fractures. Both my orbital bones were fractured still. They didn't heal. And I had an old fracture here that I just took the shot and it broke. So, you know, Samantha went to bat, put together a whole ER. I had to have an ear, nose, and throat doctor, orthopedic, or what do you call it? A orthodontic surgeon, a plastic surgeon, and a anesthesiologist all in the same room. And on short notice, that's pretty difficult.
Oh yeah.
Right? So this is as pretty as you get for 150 grand.
Right.
So here we are. So
I'd still fuck you.
Which is not bad though.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If I fuck, sounds like money well spent, my friend.
Well, you know, I feel like they could have patched me up.
Yeah.
They could have done something.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and then, you know, things get weird in my life. Me and Samantha are now divorced. She's a great person. I would guess that I'm mostly to blame. The Youngs bought Katrubis out, and fortunately they kept me on.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's been awesome. It's been a great company to work for.
Are
Awesome to work
they
for.
buying everything?
I hope they do.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you, all of my, do side by sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere I go is
Power
owned by
Sports.
Young now. Everybody.
Pretty much Bountiful North. They
Yep.
own them all. I
Everything.
wish they did. So I bought a new Harley.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful bike too.
Thank you. It's fun. It ain't fast enough, but it's fun. We'll get there.
Me.
So I bought it 3 days later. The Youngs bought us. Mm-hmm. I'm like, why don't you guys have a Harley dealer? And he said, well, we have an Indian dealer. And I was like, I missed the
Bountiful.
boat. I missed the boat. Why didn't you tell me 3 days ago? I'd have waited.
Yeah.
But they've been awesome to work for. Turns out my general manager I went to high school with, his name's Corey Martin. He's a great guy. Known him forever. We were both degenerates in school, and we were poor kids from Ogden. We made it, made something of ourselves. And so as usual, work is stellar because that's what's important to me.
Yep.
And the personal life is a dumpster fire.
Hey, I hear you.
I'm speaking to the choir.
I'm doing great, man.
Fuck you.
Fucking bam.
It must be hard to keep your wife liking you for all these years.
I'm
Because
sure.
I'm on some kind of 3-year cycle. God damn.
You know what? When the dog shits on the carpet, you beat the hell out of them. They learn. I'm just kidding. I love my wife to death. God bless her.
Yeah, you don't want to get beat up on
God
your
Probably
bless
loves
her.
it when you're drunk because you cuddle.
Yes. Yeah.
Very, drink, drink.
Anyway,
Well, so things were good
get
for
another beer.
better drink too. You need a ride home. Sammy did a lot of research into brain trauma, and it scares the. She was. Obviously, she's more scared for me than I am for me because whatever. I didn't think I'd make it this old most of my life. You know what I mean? My sister's had several concussions too, and my mom took her to a treatment facility in Provo that's supposed to be stellar. And I think it helped her a lot. And my mom really wanted me to go. But I don't know. I just couldn't put it together in my brain. So,
Is it fear, you think, that is the outcome of what can be happening that you don't know? Because I have the same thing with my heart. Like, obviously, I try to take care of myself. I try to, I take my pills and all that stuff. But then again, I'm not checking it as much as I used to, just because
Right.
I feel like I know I'm not busting my ass about it, but I am doing something about it. That if at the end it turns out that I'm not doing anything, it would just destroy me.
So, I had a fighter's childhood, right? I had a shit childhood. Step parents, beatings, the whole nine, right? And Samantha said something that I'd never thought about, right? She's like, yeah, you've had all these concussions. And you probably had your first one when you were 10.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I started looking into it a little bit, and you can't tell, right? They can't tell until they autopsy your brain.
Yeah, that's the sad part.
And it's terrible, and it's sad. I mean,
So they can tell when you had it.
Well, no,
but
can't.
they can tell the damage.
CTE, though, I mean, a lot of these athletes, like lifetime pro athletes, one of the biggest one is Aaron Hernandez.
Junior Seau.
And Junior Seau, when
They said when they autopsied his brain, the inside was black.
Yeah.
So when you get a concussion, it's a bruise on your brain. And once it happens, it won't oxygenate. So, going through what some of the symptoms look like, in a lot of situations, I've been shorter of temper than I normally. I'm pretty mild-mannered. I should take that back. It's not that I'm shorter of temper, but it's when it goes off, it is uncontrollable. And I'm not, before everybody says I'm a white beater, I've never hit a woman in my life, nor would I, nor my kids. That's how I grew up, and I went the other way. I made sure. But I mean, jumping up and down, yelling and screaming. I chased some guy out of the bar because he was being a dick to one of the bouncers, and chased him across the street, and the bouncer grabs me, and I was like, I will beat his ass in the street. And the guy's like, you think you're so tough? I said, my address is come to my house. I'll beat your ass in my lawn and make a sandwich. My son Kane, fortunately, there's been 3 instances like that it just have been uncontrollable. And he's the only one that can make me slow down. You know what I mean? I think, to be honest with you, the fear of it for me is that if it fundamentally changes me mentally or my personality, what does that look like?
Right.
Like if I go and you can't necessarily heal it, right? But they could improve it. But what does that do? Does that change my personality? Does it change all of my behavior? Right?
Yeah, because it rewires it somehow, right?
Something changes, right? But
right.
I mean, in that instance, if I did have my first concussion at a young age, I've been this way, good chance that I've been this way since then. You know what I mean? But what I am is a driven, motivated person. I try to be very unforgiving on my own actions, even, despite what they are, and try to be forgiving of other people's. I don't take a lot of compromise from, I'm hard on my employees when I need to be. And sometimes Corey actually said this, sometimes, you care more about their future than their feelings at times. Mm-hmm. And I think I've had a good blend of that. And that's why I've been successful,
Some of the greatest individuals, and you could relate to sports, you could relate to business, anything. They're wired just a little bit different, and it takes those certain things where you go outside of, this is what's going on. It's okay, where you take a different route, and like you said, you may be harder on some individuals for their future instead of what's lurking right now, right?
Sure.
So they always say you never want to meet your hero, right? Because those are some of the most backwards people in the world. Yeah. But those are the most driven individuals in the world as well, right?
Absolutely. And like you said, it just there's something different, right? So as the young group, actually, they do a book club, and the book they just signed us was Relentless. I don't know if you've read it or heard it. It's like a manual for me, right? He trained Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley and a lot of these guys, right? And he talks about how, you know, like a serious type A personality he calls him a cleaner. He's like, you know, he's a cleaner. He's the guy that's there at night doing it by himself and getting the job done. And he knows everybody's secrets and he knows all their shit and he's still doing it, right? He's operating on instincts, and he's a high level operating person, right? And he said, if you have some of these characteristics, and I'm certain I do, not all, of course, but
Right.
I mean, enough. So what if it changes me? What if I go soft? What if I, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's a real scare for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's genuinely something that worries me. So, Samantha had done a bunch of research. She was really concerned, and she come across ketamine therapy. So there's a clinic in Sandy called, I think it's Quintessence is how you say it.
You ever done ketamine? I have.
Well, thank God they gave it to me when they stapled my head back together after
Right.
the motorcycle, or that would have been the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. So you go in, they give you an IV, it's controlled, there's a nurse in there and she sits with you, and then you can opt to pay for having a therapist in there. Well, I'm not just going in to get fucked up, I'm trying to fix me, right? So I go in for the first one, and so ketamine, so your brain, this is how the doctor described it to me, maybe I'm not describing it right, but so you stop developing brain cells, you know, in early 20s.
Right.
Like, you know, just don't have any. They don't build. They die. You kill them with booze, or I do anyway, or getting hit in the head. So, drink up, buttercup. So, you know, you have a cell and it's got a nerve on it, and it looks like an arm, right? Well, when you have damage, the nerve shrinks. Well, the ketamine makes the nerve enlarge so it can try to reconnect and rewire. So I go in, and so there's a therapy dose and then there's a pain dose. And the doctor's like, well, are you in pain? And I said, yeah, probably. I mean,
Look at me.
this is just normal, you know.
Right.
I'm sure I do, but eventually you just live with it, right? So he said, well, we need to get you closer to a pain dose if you're worried about brain trauma, because it will make it react faster. Well, I go in there and they give it to me, and the therapist is in there and she's taking notes, and I downloaded my whole childhood in an hour, and it was awful. It was fucking awful. I was regurgitating shit I haven't thought about since I was probably in high school.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Just things that I suppressed or whatever. And she's taking notes, and me and Sammy are on the tail end of this divorce, but she's supportive, so she drives me down there. I get done, and I'm a mess. Like, I am a mess, right? And bless her heart, Samantha's sitting in on the couch, and she's asking the doctor, is he okay? Is there anything I should know? Can I look at the notes? And the doctor's like, nobody should look at this. She's like, not until I have a second session with him, and just a regular therapy session. Nobody needs to hear this. She was like, you know, the things, the vulnerability and the things that cause me, you know, anguish, and it just is coming. I can't stop. It's like downloading your brain into a computer. So, and then I have the follow-up session that makes me feel worse. You know, she's like, you're an intelligent person, and your personality's fractured. And the reason you're not psychotic is because you're a smart person. Mm-hmm. She's like, people that go crazy, their IQ finally can't keep up with it. So she scheduled me for another one, and it is a physical effort to get me to walk back in that room. My son drives me down. Kane drives me down. And I am fucking dreading it. For 3 days, it's like consuming me of how bad this is going to be. And I had to start looking at it like a fight, right? I signed up. I'm doing it.
Got to finish it.
I'm not going to be a pussy. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it done. But I got out of the car and wanted to run. You know what I mean? I'd rather fight Miosic and just get it out of the way fast.
Right.
You know what I mean? Than have to deal with the aftermath. So I go in and I do it, and it was completely different. It was like I'd actually gotten some shit out of the way. And I talked about my kids, and I was like, you know, I need to be better for my kids. I've drugged my kids through, you know, all my personal bullshit over the years, and, you know, step parents that weren't good to them, or, you know, girlfriends that were stupid, or whatever, you know, whatever it might be. And that was about it. You know, and I'm going back. I actually had a session scheduled for tomorrow, but I just bought a house yesterday.
I was going to say congratulations, mister. Yeah, congratulations.
Like I was saying, I bought a condo because I don't want to do yard work. I want to be on my motorcycle, and I want to be out fucking around. I don't want.
You're a smart man.
I don't want to work on my house. I want to go do dumb shit. You know what I mean? I want to ride my motorcycle too fast or whatever. But
God, every time he has his motorcycle, it has to be fast. What is wrong with this guy?
why do you want a slow one?
I don't know. It's just like
I had one of my, well, let me finish the house thing and then I'll tell this story because I actually thought about it. So I bought a brand new townhouse, never been lived in. It's got pretty decent sized garage for the bikes.
No coming there. Nice.
And good size. You know, my daughter and Kane, my daughter Chambry and Kane are gonna come stay with me at least for a minute, and I'm sure they'll want to move on soon. But I mean, I don't even know how a kid making 20 or 25 bucks an hour could afford a house now.
It's impossible.
You know what I mean?
It's impossible.
So, I mean, they're welcome. I love them, you know, and they're my best friends, and my kids really, you know, Marika, Jeremy, and Chambry and Kane are very important to me. My personality is usually a defending type of person.
Right.
But sometimes it's to a fault, right? Like I'm trying to save them even when they don't need saving. You know what I mean? And maybe it's parent guilt. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing about the motorcycle, so I had a mentor, Michael Lawton, who was at the time he was a service manager at Toyota.
Mike Lawton.
Michael Lawton, yeah. You know him?
Funny story. You ready?
Oh.
And I'm almost 100% positive this is the same Michael Lawton that.
Justice like I did shrooms with him. I'm just
So
I'm just kidding.
It's got to be the same guy. So his daughter's a cop.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I know where you're going with this.
So I grew up with some friends, the Bingham twins. That's their stepbrother, their older stepbrother.
Okay.
Mike Lawton is part of Brian's IGY 622. He's a member of he makes all their shirts.
Brian Hellbach, shout out.
So, in fact, when we were selling, what were we doing? The foundation for the dogs, for the service animals, on the podcast, we said, hey, if you donate to this foundation, we'll match you and give you Other Side of the Beehive t-shirt. And him and his wife were fortunate enough to donate to it. And so he actually has some of the very rare
few people.
There's not very many. There's one of the few rare Other Side of the Beehive t-shirts out there.
I don't have one for the record.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't make him that
They don't
big.
make him that big.
Well, so obviously you can wear mine. For God's sakes.
Does it stretch?
As long as it's right before a fight, it'll fit.
Does it stretch?
They all stretch.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But the only reason I say that is because I knew he worked at Toyota in Riverdale forever.
He was a service manager there for a
It
long
is the
time.
same guy. So I had a near-death experience.
People, listen to this shit.
From a couple weeks ago. The wrong way driver down the freeway, riding down the shoulder. If you listen to the last episode, you know the story. And I'm just past the Centerville exit. Going, all of a sudden the water truck in front of me swerves to the side. I go all the way over. Thank God nobody was there. He goes up the off ramp. His daughter was the one who stopped the other side wrong way driver.
Made him spin.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I might have saw that on something.
Small fucking world.
Yeah, and Michael Lawton's a great dude.
Yeah.
Great dude. And he really took me under his wing, but when he hired me, and this was, I mean, God, this has been 20 years almost. He says, "What do you drive?" I don't know. I got a big jacked up Cummins.
Dude, can you
shit.
imagine? Fucking
And
Eric's
he's-
like a cube.
Yeah. And he's like, he says,
Nissan Leaf.
he's like, I want to hire people that drive fast cars and ride fast motorcycles and want to get shit done in a hurry. And it was like his personality that he was looking for were.
Eric's like, have you checked my last episode on the other side of the Beehive?
Yeah. That's him.
That's him.
God
He's the
damn
same
it.
fucking guy.
He is a hunting son of a bitch these days too. So he moved back to Pennsylvania, but I probably wouldn't be a service manager now if I hadn't learned
Really?
some things. Absolutely. Absolutely.
What a small world.
He taught me statistics, how to work out averages and do projections for business and stuff like that. I didn't know any of that shit. He sat down with me one afternoon and wrote it all out for me, so I understood it. He hell of a guy.
Used to race motorcycles way back in the day.
Yeah, hell of a guy. He
Well,
really,
what a small world, huh?
it is.
Damn.
That warms my heart. And that takes some doing.
That's what we do. On the other side of the
It's
Beehive.
warm and fuzzy every time I come in here, but I didn't realize that's what you were doing with it.
So, are you going back for another session?
I will.
You will?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I there's all these catchphrases, right? Like trauma and narcissists, and I hear all this stuff, and I'm not saying that there's not some validity to it. My personality is wired to where those things, if I use those terms about myself, it means I'm being a bitch. I'm not mentally strong enough. That's what that, and again, not right, wrong, or indifferent. Or,
Well, that's how the stone was made, right?
Yeah. So, I think that if you have trauma, if you've had some experiences like that, you absolutely should do it. I don't think you should just go and do it by yourself, download it, and wish for the best. Because at least in my case, I'd have probably ran out in traffic. You know what I mean? Fuck this. Wow. This shit's hard. It was heavy, and it was heavy for 2 weeks until my next session. But the second session, I left feeling completely different. So, I don't think of myself as being a depressed person. Again, how my brain's wired is if you're so depressed you can't get out of bed, you're quitting. I never had the option, right? So when things were going south with me and Samantha and she was depressed, I was like, you need to go see a psychiatrist. And she got upset and she's like, I want to talk to you about it. I said, I'm not the guy. I don't have sympathy in that realm. Not that I shouldn't. I absolutely should, right? But I was trying to recognize the fact that I'm fucked up. And it's not that I don't believe in it, because I do. But I'm also the guy that's, you got to pull up your bootstraps and figure it out. Doesn't matter, right? So there was a lot of things like that. I'm hard to love. I've said it a bunch of times. I look good on paper. I'm successful. I have a good job.
You're beautiful.
I'm a pretty good dad. devilishly handsome.
$150,000 face.
Yeah. Devilishly handsome. But I'm hard to live with.
Right.
And who's to say, but I'm always so put together at work, right? Mm-hmm. Because that is like the thing for me. I ride so much of my success on that. And
it's good to have something like that to drive you, though. That's what keeps you occupied.
And I can be that way in my personal life most of the time, but I get impulsive to the point where like my eyes hurt, that I just want to, do something stupid, right? And those are the times. And in that book, in Relentless, he talks about that. Like, there's a darkness in you that darkness makes you what you are.
Right.
But at the same time, it makes everybody else fucking hate you.
Yeah.
At least at times. But, I'm learning and I'm growing, and my mom's been really amazing through this. It's getting better.
Good.
It's getting better. I know Samantha loves me and I love her. Us being on top of each other, and she's got a bunch of childhood shit that she's drugged through for all these years too. She actually started doing the ketamine. She did it right after I did, as a matter of fact. And she had a very similar, she wasn't a mess for 2 weeks because I couldn't even talk to her for 2 weeks, right? Like I was I was shutting off of everybody around me. I'm going to work for 15 hours a day. I'll work 6 days a week. I don't want to deal with any kind of outside thoughts. That's what's safe for me, right?
Well, they open the closet, right?
Yeah.
You dug out all the skeletons, put them all around the room.
Pandora's box.
And so, I mean, that's kind of expected, right?
Well, I didn't expect it.
Well, there's a reason. There's a science behind it, right?
No, and absolutely. I operate on blunt force trauma a lot. Whatever it is, I'll get through it. It won't kill me.
So what made you decide it's time? It's one more. Let's get one more out.
So I actually went to a hypnotherapist after that. I didn't get hypnotized, but just talking to him and stuff. And he talked about Astronaut Syndrome. Did we talk about this last time? So the majority of astronauts that go to the moon, they kill themselves.
Holy shit.
Because what do you do? What's greater? Right? And he told me, he's like, you're going to get depressed. And I mean, I felt it before. I just didn't have a name for it. Right.
Right.
And I did. I felt like I didn't have that edge that was keeping me motivated and keeping me disciplined and something to work towards outside of just the job. Right. And,
have you trained this whole time? Always training?
No. Well, I've been lifting and running, and I mean, I've been trying to stay in shape. I've only been to the gym a couple days a week for the most part until now. But I was just trying to not be a fat ass and just keep up.
You looked at me.
I did.
Yeah,
I won't look at you anymore and not be a fat ass.
Hey, at least you didn't look back here at me.
You're so sensitive. So
I appreciate that. Look back here at me. Yeah.
Nothing but love.
But fuck this guy.
Fuck Angel.
Kind of trying to piece it together, and here's what I guess made me decide to go again. Is I didn't want that injury to end it. I didn't want that to be the reason that it stopped. Right. I'm to grips that I'm 43 years old, but at 41, I was a killer.
Right.
Killer.
Right.
Best shape of my life. Right. At 41 years old, I'd figured out the diet, the training regimen, the gym. I was just a savage. Right. And I felt like I was slipping. So I said, I'll do one more. And my kids were pissed.
I was just about to ask you this.
They have the right to be. They have the right to be. They were very. We talked about it over a beer and dinner, and I let them call me whatever names.
All the names in the book, right?
But I promised them it'd be my last one, because Kane's seen them stitch my face back together. I got 56 stitches in my face that year that I probably got the fractures. They never CT scan me. They stitch me up, push me out the door.
What's the response of the gym?
They're excited to see one more. Fabio's so supportive. He's so supportive. He's just the best human being. I mean, it's just the best human being.
But they see you in there every day, and they know.
Yeah,
they know.
Well, and we had a discussion like that yesterday, as a matter of fact, because there was a falling out with Coach Al, my boxing coach, whom I loved, and I wish he'd come back. It wasn't a falling out with me. It was some other people at the gym. He decided not to come back, and I miss him. He taught me a lot, right? And I was sparring a little bit the other day, and I was moving good, and I felt good, and I had to take a step back, and I was doing some pad work after that, and Buzz tells me, he's like, this is where you need to be. This is how you need to be. He said, you need to not do the shit where you go in, get hit, bite down, and fire, right? He's like, if you fought everybody like you fight here,
you'd be a world champion.
Yeah. I mean, I move good. I get out of the way. I work my angles. I do all the things I'm supposed to do. But goddamn, personality thing, probably, right? I get hit a couple of times, and I take it as a personal offense, and I dig my toes into the mat as hard as I can, and I bite down on my mouthpiece, and I swing and I'll rock'em sock'em robot, and we'll just see who goes down first. Here's the other thing. I fought for 5 years with an absolutely fractured face, right? So what did that do to me?
Right.
Like when I fought Moa, he hit me right there. That's what put me down. And even with him, I wasn't unconscious. I was trying to grab him. Cortez, when I fought him. So, I don't want to be that guy that's lingering necessarily. And it's not about, I don't have it. I'm about as tough as a human as they build, right? I know that.
Yeah, there's no question about that, Eric.
But so I don't need to prove that. Right. I don't even need to prove it to myself. But I want an opportunity to go out on a win. And I want to see what the difference is being whole. There's and the problem is once you go through this process, there isn't anything else like this.
Right.
There isn't anything that will teach you the shit, about yourself, the shit that makes you want to quit, the shit that I don't want to eat chicken and rice anymore, that kind of thing, right? And I'm taking a little bit different approach. I mean, I'm still working hard, but I'm really trying to have fun with this, because I think that last year it was just business. I would just wanted to be a killer, and I think that I had it in my mind that I overanalyzed it to the point that it just wasn't fun. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. I was just trying to beat somebody's ass and be the champion. That was the only thing I cared about, right? And again, personality wise, me being as hard as I can be on myself, I'll ride myself to madness. You know what I mean? To pure insanity. And I think that's where I was. I So I'm trying to enjoy this, knowing that this is it. I wanted to fight one more time for Steel Fist because that's where I started, and I love them guys. I love Kevin and Pat to death. But this opportunity came up. It's a big show. It's a great show.
It was an amazing fucking show.
They're doing a great job with it. I'm hoping that I get, for the last ride, I get a lot of support. I just want this to be the end, but on the right way.
Right.
Win, lose, or draw. I know that this is going to be it. There just can't be a lose or draw.
I love it.
So, I'm excited. I'm not going to lie. I definitely know I'm 43. Like I'm still moving pretty well and my hands are reasonably fast.
How old is Rudy?
I'm not fighting him. They changed him yesterday.
Oh, no way.
So good for him. Good for him, right? Zach calls me and he's like, can I call you? I'm like,
This is breaking news, right?
yeah,
no
nobody
shit.
knows this. Actually, this happened yesterday.
So this is come out Monday, so it's okay,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it's okay. You can come out. I mean, it's not necessarily secret, but Rudy got picked up to go to PFL this weekend.
Oh, no
so
shit.
good for him,
Yeah,
right?
good for him.
He's a young guy in the middle of it. I'm an old guy retiring. You know what I mean? That's a better opportunity for him. I would never, even if I didn't fight, how could I?
Yeah.
I would want somebody to do that for me.
Absolutely.
Right? So
Absolutely.
they've got I'll have to look at the name.
Let me find out what his name is.
There's two guys and I guess we'll see.
God damn, gangbang, yeah.
Well, I actually have a real one in. I reverted.
Yeah, you pussy.
Thank you so much for joining us. Don't worry about where he's at.
So now-
after this, for God's sake.
So I just, I want to equally offend everybody in the room. So there's two opponents they offered. Both of them are out of Vegas. One of them's Edison Lopez, and one is Marcus Gamble. We've offered to fight Edison Lopez, and I'm just waiting to hear back to confirm that or not. I mean, I'm fighting somebody.
What's his pro record?
He is, oddly enough, he's my age. He's 6'2". Last fight was 257.
I will tell you right here.
He's coming off of 2 losses. He's got some good wins though. He's fought a lot.
So yeah, two losses.
I looked at his record. I can't even remember his name.
He's 10-6, 0-1, no contest.
So, he's been around. He's
We
a
have
tough
a
guy.
fucking guy for that here.
That guy's fucking staring into space, right?
That's because you didn't tell him.
But you're talking to a guy that knows how to navigate through tapology, right?
Yeah, right. That's true.
Apology.
That's where you go, buddy. That's where you get your facts.
Old school. I'm a sure dog guy.
I am
by
too.
heart. By heart. I'm a sure
Absolutely.
dog guy.
For life, right?
Yeah, but
For life.
But you pull up sure dog, and sometimes it's
not accurate.
It's not
Yeah.
accurate.
That's
Like
true.
in fact, when we had Johan Rubio on here, we were talking about Jeremy Horn, and we pulled up sure dog. I'm like, that's not right, though. I mean, Jeremy Horn's got 30 more fights that are showing that. So,
it's not necessarily something to prove. It's the finish of it, right? And I've had 10 people tell me I'm a dumbass. You're worried about CTE and you're going to go fight again and all these things. And it's valid,
yeah.
But say one thing about Eric Iman, he ain't going to fucking listen to you.
That's what we love about you. That's what we love about you.
I did a post the other day and I was like, sometimes you have to
Yeah, I
remind
know
a
what you're talking
motherfucker who
about.
you are.
Yep.
But sometimes that motherfucker is you. So I am currently reminding myself of who I am. I think over the last couple of years, I've tried to not dumb down my personality, but tame it. And it's made me difficult, and it made everything around me worse. Right. It fractured my relationship with Samantha. It made me, I've had issues with my dad. I'm that guy. I have people all the time. You're so well put together. Yeah. Until you go in there. Yeah. Cause there's some weird shit in there. You know what I mean? And not like I want to do harm to anybody or anything like that, but just, having extreme life experiences and wrecking my motorcycle and coming into the podcast the next day and shit like that. That's just
that one's on you though.
That will top.
Yeah.
And by the way, you say there's no fans. Just so you know, some of the most viewed, if not the most viewed podcasts we've had have been with you. Yeah. So don't say you don't have fans. Because
and I definitely appreciate it. Some of that's
it's time for you to get the other side of the Beehive tattoo with the rest of us. I mean, you've been on here just as many times as I have, for God's sake.
Sign me up. We can go tomorrow. Shit, I'm in. I love you guys. I'll get your initials under it. It'll be sexy.
Ooh, yeah.
Then we'll get divorced for sure.
Yeah. He's not allowed within 50 feet of this building.
Oh, God. And living through that.
No shit.
Well, and maybe I shouldn't share, but I just...
This is whatever you want, brother.
Whatever you want. This is your platform, my friend.
So, when all this stuff in my marriage was unraveling, I come home from a trip with my kids, and I'd done some dumb shit that got me in fucking trouble, and the house is locked and it's 20 degrees and my kids are locked out. And I was staying back in this room we had behind our bar, and I lose my mind. I am beating on the door like a lunatic. Now, granted, I wasn't going to hurt anybody because there isn't a fucking door that's going to stop me from doing anything I want.
Right.
But I was letting the neighborhood know, you know what I mean? And I was coming unhinged. Kane comes up, calms me down. I go back to the bar. Cops come out, talk to me. I said, look, I'm fine. I'll stay out here. I'm not trying to make the situation worse. I just want to make sure my kids can get in. Right. And apparently Samantha had already called them and said, I'm going to open the door. I just don't want your dad in here. Pretty fucking reasonable considering, you have a 260-pound bald gorilla beating on your back door.
One of the baddest motherfuckers.
Silverback motherfucker.
For God's sakes.
So the cops were good.
Can you imagine the cop, the first day on the cop, a guy like me that has a belt and shit, up to this guy?
So, they came out, they left me there. I'd calmed down. I was trying to go to bed. I had to work the next day. And then it just, and that kind of sealed the deal where me and her stopped being able to communicate.
Yeah.
And then it just snowballed and got worse. And then it got worse because there was some mitigating factors of some people around us that were, you're
fueling the fire.
Well, they come in the guise of somebody that's trying to support you and have your best interest when really they're pouring,
gas.
Second you turn around, they're pouring gas on the fire. And it just blew up. It got worse and worse and worse until she finally had a protective order served against me. And I never touched her. But I could see why she'd be scared. Yeah. So, and I own that. And unfortunately it's one of the most shameful things probably that I've ever done, and that might be saying something. But I mean, because I've always been the one to protect my family and friends. People know they're safe around me. That's the person I am. Yeah. And talking to the therapist, she said, well, look at how you were raised, and then take that and how are you going to react when you feel like that's happening to your own kids, right? But it just was that thing. It amplified to a point where I couldn't calm myself down whatsoever. And it's worked out where we're getting along pretty well.
Good, man.
And she's a great person.
Yeah, we love her to death.
And the trigger word narcissist, I tell myself, so I made sure that she could stay in the house. I took less equity than I could have. I took all the debt. I paid off all her debt. And I'm not patting myself on the back because I fucking did this, right? I did this to us. to a degree. The same thing, me and her. I mean, she's a very similar personality to me, so we pour gas on our own fire. You know what I mean? But she kept telling me, you moved me out here, because I bought the house before we were married, and then when I refinanced it after we were married, I put her on it. But she told me over and over again, I'm gonna have to uproot my kids, and Syracuse is expensive, you know. So yeah, look at you, big dollars.
Syracuse fucking boy, born and raised, got well water in my veins. Did you hear that, Ryan?
That's impressive.
It was impressive. I didn't even try to do that.
But I did a lot to make sure that she would be safe in that house and her kids would be safe at that house. And I did a lot to make sure that happened at the expense of my own kids. But it was the right thing for me to do. So, you know, I tell myself I'm protecting her, but maybe I'm being a narcissist about it. I don't know. But I did it. I made sure that she's there. She's safe. She should be able to afford it. She's still got a ton of equity in the house. If anything happened, you know, she doesn't have a car payment. She can make it. So, that doesn't make me a good person necessarily. I did what I should do because I did what I did.
But you're not a deadbeat, Eric.
Yeah.
You're not a deadbeat.
And the only thing I'm good at is making more money. You know what I mean? I work my ass off to make sure I'm not poor. Yeah. So when it's all said and done, I'll make more money and I'll rebuild, you know. But starting her, you know, she sold her townhouse that she owed nothing on. And, you know, it wasn't right. It wouldn't have been right. I couldn't have lived with myself. Right. So, yeah. So she refinanced me off the house. I took some of the equity. I just bought this other one. You know, we'll just try to get better.
Ready for the next chapter, right?
Every 3 years, I'm on a new chapter. My kids
Wait, so I'm stuck on this one for 3 years?
Good luck,
It's been about that. How long we've been around? 3 years?
Good luck, buddy. Because when it unravels, boy, that spring gets sprung.
Dude, I get the Zillow emails every morning. Every morning I wake up, and when I check my phone, it's just looking at houses. Dude, I'm like, I can never afford this.
So that's the boat we're in. You know, we have a ton of equity, and I look at what we could make off of our house.
But you're buying at the top of the market,
and that's the thing. I'm like, oh, we'll make fucking $400,000 on our house. This is a no brainer. But
I bet you get more than that now.
To something else, it's just like
you have a nice place.
It doesn't even make sense. It's not even worth it at this point. You were in the new California.
Yeah.
Flat out.
Yeah, and you know, we Corey, my boss, has talked to some economists and things like that, and they said this is the new ground level for us. There's so many unfilled jobs here. People, they need people. It's driving it up. You know, the hedge funds are buying rentals and driving the rent price up. So I mean, I could have rented, but I'd be renting for almost the same as I'm paying in.
It doesn't make sense.
Home payment
doesn't make sense.
And I should find somewhere to like set up shop and stay, because I bought, I don't know, like 4 or 5 houses over the last fucking.
You're good at it, huh?
No.
That realtor's off.
Every 3 years buys a new.
If I bought 2 within this 3 years. You know, I bought 4 houses in the last 6 years or 7 years. If I was smart, I would have kept one of them and cashed in, right? But I mean, I can feel good that, you know, she has kids that are in school. They're safe. She's safe. You know.
Good.
So it's good.
We're happy for you, man.
Thanks.
We're your.
And we always got your back.
I know.
We always got your back.
And you know, when I talked to you actually at the Fierce Fights, it really meant a lot to me.
Yeah,
it did. It was good to see you. And
you got to meet my mom.
Yep.
My mom was all over Eric, by the way.
Oh God,
she was rubbing my arms and stuff. It was fun.
Yeah.
I have a crush on his mom, but you know,
everybody does.
Hey, do you think?
How would you not?
Let me ask you this. You think she want me older, or she would rather be younger?
Who?
Your mom.
Wait, what?
You think she would rather me older? Would rather me be older, or her be younger?
My mom?
That makes my
Okay,
head
wait,
hurt.
what?
No.
Now I know what you're saying. I understand. It's just like the chicken or the egg. It makes.
Hey, what did you say about my mom?
Hey, let him say it, dude.
I said what I said.
I mean, regardless, what's over here?
I actually,
That's my mom, man.
I know how to
God
answer
damn
this.
it.
I know how to answer this. She would rather you be mature, and that's not going to happen. So you're fucking out.
That's not gonna, I'm a child.
What if I'm all, I think she'd rather you be white.
I would not go there. I was just,
you know, just throwing ideas out there.
Actually, I mean, that's retaliation. You talked about his mom. He's going to go at you.
Hey,
you know?
he talks about my mom too.
Oh, well.
Oh, his mom's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Would you rather me be older or younger?
Angel's mom, she don't care with me.
My mom would be like, I just rather you not be so racist.
I am very unracist despite looking the way I look. Right? So you're saying there's a chance.
So, other than you look like an extra from what was that show Edward Norton was in?
Oh yeah, American History X. Yeah, I look. Zach Leroy told me a joke. He said, I have a bunch of tattoos and I look like I've been to prison, but I have a good credit score. Yeah, that's me.
Well, you bought 5 houses.
Yeah, your credit score's gonna be great.
Yeah, that's like buying a bunch of cars. It makes you broke. I bought a new car. I bought an old car.
Is it the black
Audi? Yeah,
the Audi out there? I
my
saw
God.
that.
Tell you what, though.
Parked next to my Audi.
Yep.
I tell you, all right, relax. Hey, quit putting your dicks together, huh?
You got
Hey,
later.
You rub till there's friction, bud.
hold on. So when he told me that he
There's
got the
rings
car,
on the front.
okay, what does that mean?
That's where you can put your dick.
Oh, so you guys fucking from the front. Oh, I see what you're saying.
We didn't go to the back. Keep it in the front.
Well, I have a truck, so I gotta go in the muffler in the
Yeah.
back. Yo, when he told me that he got the car, he went through you, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, dude, I gotta do
Yeah,
that.
you wouldn't
one.
help me
I want to
out.
buy I want to
Absolutely.
buy a car sometime.
And since then, flawless.
Good.
It was Kane that worked on it, right?
It was Ken.
My dude.
He
dude.
Yeah, God, that
How old
kid.
is this kid, dude? 'Cause
He just turned 21.
Remember when he was there last time?
Isn't
He
he,
sat
like,
on that
8
little
feet
bench right
tall?
there. And he
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah, dude.
He was like,
Yeah, he looked like a monkey fucking a football.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on a 2-foot tall bench, and he's bigger than that wall.
Well, you don't look any different right now. We gotta change this couch. We gotta change this couch.
It really is kind of cramped. It's not a lot of leg room.
We gotta do
So
some changes.
I bought an S4. I bought an older S4 because so when all this going into my survival instincts are like I got to minimize everything I've got, right? I got to start minimizing my debt. I got to so I sold my truck. I used all the money that we had on our truck to pay off any unsecured debt or any weird shit that we had, so she'd be debt free. And then I went and bought this Audi. It's the only manual S4 in the state.
oh, it's a manual.
At the time, it was the only manual S4, and it was a 2010. And I decided to buy it because I walk out in the shop and I hear Kane's working on one. And I'm like, that thing sounds badass. What is that? And I'm looking around. And I was like, oh, it's an S4. And then I start looking into it, and it had an intake and exhaust, sounded really cool. I was like, I want that. It whines because of the supercharger. It screams. It's awesome. So I tracked this kid down for 3 days.
Oh, so he was just having it worked on. He wasn't trading it
No,
in. huh?
it was for sale. Once I heard
okay.
that car, I get
Hey, I
online.
got this guy over here banging on my door.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
he's
about
like,
to call the
you
cops.
can have it.
It's yours. So I haven't even driven one, but I have to have it because my impulse
Right.
is just screaming, right? You could probably see electricity shooting off my head. So I'm trying to get a hold of this
He
kid.
walks in with this door. Sorry, I banged too hard. Here's your door. Can I have your car too?
I'm taking your car. I'll trade you. So I haven't driven one though. I'm messaging this kid. He goes silent. I'm so obsessed with it now because I have to have it because I can't have it.
Well, it's at home at this point, right?
Yeah, now it's at home. So I start looking around.
And no one knows where the kid is.
I start looking around. I find one in Denver.
Yeah.
I start calling the dealership, and I'm like, "Okay, you sell it to my dealer, and I'm going to buy it,
Right.
Because I got to be loyal, you
Yeah.
know." I'm planning. I'm like looking at shipping options. I'm gonna get this. I don't care if it's in Connecticut. I'll put it on a train, whatever. Right. Well, the kid finally messages me back. Right as I was about to buy a plane ticket, and I go look at it. Still haven't driven it. I asked the kid, "Can I drive it?" He's like, "I'd rather you didn't." I said, "I understand. It's a $3,000 clutch. You don't know me. I get it.
Right.
I'm wearing all my Audi gear, but whatever." And he's like, "Well, I'll take you for a ride." And I said, "Well, Kane's with me." I said, "Take him for a ride because he'll know before I'll know."
Right.
Kane drives it. He looks it over. He's like, "It's not leaking oil. Looks like a solid car." And I bought it. Still haven't driven it. Kid drives it up to my bank, gets his check. I'm busy at work. I'm like, "Just leave it with the banker." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, give the guy the key. I trust this guy." His name's Aaron, Golden West Layton. He's a good dude.
That's where I got my loan.
So I go over and pick up the car. I haven't even sat in the fucking thing. This is the impulsiveness that makes it hard for me to deal with, right?
We think alike.
Yeah.
We think alike.
Get off his dick, huh?
I get in the
I'm
car.
just being honest.
First off, I get in the car. I scoot the seat all the way back. I can barely touch the clutch.
I can imagine so.
And I'm almost 6'7". It's all I've got to get the clutch. It has more leg room than any.
Wow.
It's a 4-door, and the back seats might as well not be there. Right?
Yeah.
And I take that thing out on the road, and I'm like,
And he gets your pussy wet.
"Oh my God, it got your pussy wet."
Oh.
And I got a hard on. It's like driving a roller coaster.
It's that quick, huh?
It's kind of exhaust and intake on it. And Kane's got a list of shit he's going to put on it that'll damn near double it that I just ordered. I'm just waiting for one more part because, just like the bike, it's got to be fast enough to kill me.
Right? It's got to be fast enough to kill me. The same way with my side-by-side. It's like, the wife's like, "Well, we have one. It's just fine." I'm like, "Listen here.
Let me tell you
this. I'm like,
Sit down, hon.
there's this one we have, which is fine.
Adequate. We'll call it adequate.
We're driving the Suburban
Yeah.
of side-by-sides right now. There's a Porsche 911 out there. That's the one I want. She's like, "But it doesn't make sense to me." I'm like, "But it doesn't need to. It makes sense to me." And at the ass chewing I get, we go look at it, same thing. I'm like, "I don't need to drive it. I just want it.
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah,
have
I
that
don't
one.
care.
It just doesn't matter, right?" So yeah, same thing.
It won't fit in the garage. I won't fit in it, but I'm having it and I'll figure it out.
She's like, "But you're gonna blow 30 grand." I'm like, "It doesn't matter. We'll roll it. 30 grand toy. We'll scratch it. Doesn't matter. I have to have that. That's my impulse side of it." And
Yeah.
well, whatever. I'm not gonna hear the end of it. So yeah, here we are now.
Same thing, huh?
Yeah.
Good for you.
I have that problem.
I'm proud of you.
I have that issue.
proud of you.
Bad.
Yeah,
Once I get a mindset set, that's what it is.
And normally for me, it's not necessarily purchases. Like it's that next thing at work, the next thing. That's the shit that keeps me up at night, or the shit that gets me excited. We just had our best month ever, and by a lot. So we went. That shop's operating producing a third more than it did, almost half again more than it did prior.
Let me ask you this: you're in the car business right now, and I know a lot of individuals that they're out buying cars and things. How many new vehicles do you even have on your lot right now?
Last check, we had 12 Volkswagens and 2 Audis.
New.
New.
You have way more used, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Than you do new
Absolutely.
vehicles because you just can't get them, right?
So the chip shortage and the silicone and all that stuff. I mean,
Go to Angel's place in this bedroom. He's got silicone.
got all the silicone. It's dripping from the walls. So, I mean, the supply chain issue. And,
Yeah.
I don't trust the government, so I assume that they're behind it. Yeah. They're squeezing us. But I mean, getting parts is hard. I had cars, I had TDIs that turbos went out that Volkswagen couldn't source them.
Well, don't tell me that.
Make them.
Tell me that.
It's better now. They've released them
why
now.
don't you touch fists now, you bitch? Oh, I almost
I'd
said-
make sure he got
I
one.
said something I shouldn't.
I'll take the one off your truck.
Yeah, I got a diesel. Let's throw that fucker on, right?
Don't get me started. Well, I'll turn it over to Kane. Kane will figure it out because he's that way too. He's got to know. But yeah, I had cars that couldn't be driven that we had for over a year waiting for parts.
It's
$10,000 rental bills and stuff like that. It's just. I mean, it's amazing. And it's a really weird time to be in the car business because everything, the second it touches the ground, is sold. I'm not sure where we all think we're operating with this kind of money necessarily, right? Cars are being sold over sticker because the demand's so high.
Just like a house.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. I went through this house buying process and they're like, well, you need an appraisal gap. And I'm like, I need a fucking what? They're like, well, in 30 days, this house is going to be worth X amount more.
Absolutely.
And that's what it takes now. And I mean, I looked at every house in the hood I could find to get the cheapest thing I could find. And there's a bunch of flips out there and stuff. But you walk into those old 50s houses, you walk into the basement, me and Kane get decapitated.
Well, you couldn't go in my basement. There's just no way.
Yeah.
And
So,
I'm in an old 50s home.
So and then I actively tried to buy, actively tried to buy another one, and there's people living in it, which is fine. People live in houses. I live in a house.
Some squatters?
No, but we put the offer in, they accept, right? And they said, well, we might need a lease back. Apparently that's something
That's a
that
big
they
thing
do
right now.
too, right? Because they got to find a house.
Yep.
And so we agreed to like a 45-day lease back, and then they send the contract over, and it's 120 days.
Yeah.
And I was like, a motherfucker is not living in my house for 4 months. Okay. I'm really fortunate. Sean and Denise Pete have let me move into a room in their basement. Me and Kane are staying down there until we close on this house. So they've been amazing, and I really appreciate them a lot. And that's where I went when I got the protective order because I had nowhere else to go. JP up and left me. Yeah. Otherwise, I'd go squat at his house. But
shout out to JP.
Yeah,
man. Shout out.
I don't know him by that name, but I know who he is.
But I'm for one, I can't impose on these nice people. And they're like, you're the best roommate anybody could ever have. You leave at 5:30 in the morning and you get home at 8. You eat and go to bed. I most of the time I shower at the gym. I don't I sleep there is about all I'm doing. Right. But I mean, I can't impose on them for 4 months. You lost your mind. Not to mention it's my fucking house.
Right.
So
you have to go, B?
Yeah, here in a minute.
We can just. We don't have to leave. We can just fuck around, but we can turn this off if we want.
That's all you do is fuck around.
He has to DJ.
Yeah, he DJs.
Where at?
Bar mitzvahs.
Chakra Lounge every Friday, Saturday. So
Shout out.
If you're part of the ex-husbands club, so with me and
it's rare air. It's rare air for us.
Join, Justin.
You're not in, buddy. You don't need to be in. Don't be in.
That was the weakest one yet.
Well, I can't reach
a lot of, even with my long arm. It's a lot of reach.
And his probably's got plates all over his arms.
Yeah.
Metal detectors going off
Hey,
and shit.
tell everybody about your fight before we leave. Like I said, we don't have to leave. We just have to turn this off. So
No, you're
go.
fine. April 30th, Fierce Fighting Alliance. I'll send you guys. So the really nice thing about Fierce is all tickets are purchased online. I don't have to run them around and shit, which is.
So, but do we still get them through your name though?
Yes. So,
Okay,
so
perfect.
make sure that when you go on the website, you click my picture and it gives me credit for it, which is what makes these fights run, right?
And they'll know that $150,000 fucking smile right there, right?
Hey, exactly.
Sup, girl?
You can catch Brian wherever you can catch him.
After this fight, I want to come see a DJ.
You want to come? Come down.
After the fight, I will. I'll come down. I'll sleep. I'm not sleeping in the silicone room. I'll sleep on your floor.
Hey, you might fit on some of this couch.
Yeah, no shit.
I'll carry this couch with me. I'll take it with me.
Depending on what time the fight is, maybe I'll come down to the fight. And then
Oh yeah, that's right.
You know I'll be there.
Oh,
Right.
That's always my.
That's all the time we. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'll go there.
Fuck
Hey,
you up.
it's your last one. I'll go for sure. I'll be there.
Yeah, because I'll come to Brian's house and be your ass.
No, you don't have to. First of all, you.
It won't be my
First of all, you won't fit.
At that point, it won't be my last fight because you didn't show up, and I'll come fight you.
Eric will come in and you'll be like, I'm like, Eric's here to beat your ass, and you'll just run downstairs and you'll be like, I can't go down there.
I just get out of my.
Yo, what's it gonna take for us to get a other side of the Beehive patch on your shorts?
Just give me one.
Just give you one.
Absolutely.
You'll iron it
Give
on.
me one. Fuck yeah. For you guys, fuck yeah. I'll put it on. I'll put it on my shirts and shit. Absolutely.
I'll do the cowboy where it's on the inside next to my balls.
Yeah. Keep it warm. You gotta keep it warm.
And every time he says, "Shout out to the other side of the Beehive," he does it.
You're onto something.
And that's all the time we have. You know where to find all of us. Until next time, take care of yourselves out there. We will see you on the other side of the Beehive.
Say it.
Peace.